pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would like to first thank Clark Summit Borough officials for allowing us to have our meeting here today. Council President and a good friend of mine, Jerry Carey, thank you. Council Vice President Harry Kelly, Councilman Josh Mitchell, Councilman Robert Shields III, Councilman David Jenkins, Councilwoman Kathleen Simrell, Councilwoman Ronnie Lopez, who I had the pleasure of meeting recently, and she's a wonderful person, Mayor Herman Johnson, and Borough Manager Virginia Kehoe. Say that correct? Okay. Reading and approval of the minutes. At the time of the last hearing, we did not have the minutes for the meeting prior. So today I'm going to seek approval of, thank you, of the minutes from the board meetings on September 15th, 2021 and October 6th, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes for both of those here meetings?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Oh, second, sorry.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opportunity for the public to address the board on agenda items only. Okay. Moving on. Resolutions. 21-0267, approving current payables. Brian.
Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County is hereby approve the following payables. Lackawanna County's General Fund, numbers 330066-330785, inclusive total $2,649,284.71. Electronic fund transfers, including all fuel accounts, total $3,679,211.33. Adopted the regular meeting Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on October 20th, 2020.
Do I have a motion to approve the current payable, which I'm assuming everybody has had an opportunity to review?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? All in favor? Aye. 21-0261, authorizing the submission of an application for the Community Development Block Grant Program.
Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of the County of Lackawanna is hereby authorized the submission of an application in the amount of $283,552 for the Community Development Block Grant non-entitlement municipalities in Lackawanna County under the federal fiscal year 2021 Community Development Block Grant Program, as administered by the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development, and be it further resolved that the county proposes the following activities under the county's non-entitlement application. Lackawanna County for the fiscal year 2021, the CDBG program non-entitlement municipality, Music Borough, water sewer, $232,513, administration $51,039. Be it further resolved that the county proposes the following activities under the county's on behalf of the entitlement application federal fiscal year 2021 CDBG program, entitlement allocation by municipality. Archwell Borough, for water, sewer, and administration of $125,605. Blakely Borough, for street improvements and administration, $121,058. Clark Summit Borough, single unit residential rehabilitation administration, $105,383. Dixon City Borough, public facilities and other administration, $115,711. Dunmore Borough, water, sewer, and administration, $202,173. Jessup Borough, single unit resident rehabilitation and administration, $100,620. Old Forge Borough, single unit residential rehabilitation and administration, $139,992. Elephant Borough, water, sewer, administration, $105,762. Scott Township, single unit residential rehabilitation and administration, $103,099. Taylor Borough, street improvement and administration, $117,800. Troop Borough, water and sewer and administration, $94,254. Be it further resolved, the Lackawanna County will comply with the terms of Pennsylvania Act 179 in connection with the above-mentioned grant program serving the needs of low and moderate income residents and eliminating slums and blighting influences. Adopted with regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on October 20th, 2021. Madam Commissioner, here to speak upon that is our Director of Economic Development, Ms. Brenda Sack.
Hi, Brenda.
Good morning. This resolution is approving the submission of the FFY 2021 CDBG application on behalf of Lackawanna County to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development in the amount of $1.6 million. This is a standard required document for the CDBG program. We do this every year when we submit our application to the state.
Do I have a motion to approve 21-0261?
Motion. Second.
On the question? All in favor? Aye. If we could just for 1 minute, I forgot to thank Clark Summit Borough officials for allowing us to put the ballot boxes. It slipped my mind at the beginning, and I didn't want to wait to the end because I knew I'd forget again. So thank you, Jerry, and the rest of the officials for allowing us to place a ballot box here. We really appreciate it. Okay, 21-0262, authorizing the filing of application for local share account grants. Brian.
Whereas Lackawanna County is interested in promoting economic development and revitalization within Lackawanna County, and whereas Lackawanna County is submitting grant applications to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development through the Monroe County Local Share Grant Program on behalf of various agencies as detailed. Number one, Jessup Hose Company. Number two, $150,000 for the purchase of self-contained breathing apparatus to replace old out-of-compliance equipment. Item two, Hospice of the Sacred Heart, $92,400, purchase of equipment for patient and family usage in hospice. Number three, Indraloka Animal Sanctuary number one, $300,000, purchase and implementation of mobile veterinary unit. Number four, Indraloka Animal Sanctuary number two, $925,000 for art barn renovations and construction of a picnic pavilion. Whereas Lackawanna County does hereby authorize the chair of the Lackawanna County Board of Commissioners to sign and authorize all documents and accept any awards related to these Monroe County local shared account grants, and now therefore be resolved this 20th day of October 2021, that the Lackawanna County Board of Commissioners is hereby authorized the submission of these applications to the Monroe County Local Share Account Grant Program on behalf of the above-named entities and their respective projects. Adopted at the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on October 20th, 2021. Once again, Madam Commissioner, here is Director Sack.
This resolution is authorizing the submission of the Monroe County Local Share Account Grant Program application to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development on behalf of 4 additional agencies. The total for this round, Lackawanna County has submitted on behalf of 20 agencies, totaling over $3 million in requests. The LSA grant program continues to provide support and enhance community and economic well-being for communities and important projects across Lackawanna.
Does anybody have any questions?
So, Indraloka, that's a multi-county application, is that what it is? Through Monroe County, like they're...
So it's the 5 contiguous counties to Monroe. So for Lackawanna County, we actually run on Aries revenue that we include for one of the 5 contiguous. Those are in counties.
If they get it.
Do I have a motion to approve 21-0262?
Motion. Second.
On the question. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Brenda. 21-0264, entering into a memorandum of understanding.
Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County is hereby approve and enter into a memorandum of understanding on behalf of the Department of Human Services Area Agency on Aging with Weiss Markets for the COVID-19 Vaccine Incentive Program. Adopted at the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on October 20th, 2021. Madam Commissioner, here to speak upon this is the Director of Area Agency on Aging, Mr. Jason Village.
Good morning, everyone. This is an extension of the program that we presented at the last meeting. It's a vaccine program in the grocery stores that will incentivize and help individuals get vaccinated, as well as help combat food insecurity. Weiss Market just took a little bit longer because of the size of the corporation to get those mortgages.
Okay. Any questions for Jason? Do I have a motion to approve 21-0264?
Motion. Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. 21-0265, wait a minute. Yeah, entering into another memorandum of understanding, but for AAA.
Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby approve and enter into a memorandum of understanding on behalf of the Department of Human Services Area Agency on Aging with Neighborhood Works, Northeastern Pennsylvania, the housing partner for the Elder Cottage Housing Opportunity Program. Adopted at regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County on October 20th, 2021. Madam Commissioner, once again, here is Mr. Kukovic.
This is one of the projects we're very excited about. These are our elder cottage housing, which is basically tiny houses for the adults. The cottages will be placed on the property of the older adult who will live in that cottage and have caregiver services from that family while they remain. So they'll have a separate residence. The units are mobile. When the events, they will be moved out to the skilled facility because their needs increased. We'll be able to pick up that unit and move it to another person's property and recycle them. We have a partnership with Neighborhood Works. We've been working on our aging in place model as we know for 5 years now. This is an extension of it. Most counties have received 1 unit. We have 2 units that we built at Johnson College right now in partnership with the students there. The architect students are designing the units and the rest of the students will be building them out. And then we'll work with Neighborhood Works to get them placed where the selection committee decides they need to go.
I love that idea. Is the goal to increase the number, like over the, as
we've already been approved for a third into the next cycle. The goal for the state is to have 1 in every community in every county, so we'll have 3 into a phase 2 program.
and then how does somebody become eligible? How do you determine who gets what?
After the election, we're going to have a press conference, and we're going to have instructions for the community to be able to submit your application to the county. A selection committee from individuals throughout the aging community and Neighborhood Works and their agency and aging will get together and decide what actually will be on that selection committee. We'll get together, review the applications, and determine which applicants are the best for the cottage right.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve 21-0265?
Motion. Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. 21-0266, approving a professional service agreement for Veteran Affairs.
Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County is hereby approved professional service agreement for the Department of Veterans Affairs with Global Digital for the scanning and digital imaging of 26 historical soldiers burial record books and widow books at a cost of $10,500. Adopted at regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on October 20th, 2021. Madam Commissioner, this is obviously it's self-explanatory. The books are being digitalized. They are actually in very, very poor condition and they're starting to deteriorate. And they want to preserve their historical value.
Does anybody have any questions? Do I have a motion to approve 21-0266?
Motion. Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 21-0263, appointments to the Workforce Development Board.
Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County is hereby reappoint the following individuals to the Workforce Development Board with terms to commence on October 1st, 2021 and continue through September 30th, 2024. Thomas Donahue, Vice President and General Manager of Lamar Scranton, sitting as a business representative. William Cockrell, Greater Scranton Central Labor Union Council Representative and Treasurer, sitting as a mandated union representative. And Eric Pasoda, President and CEO of the Northeastern Pennsylvania Industrial Resource Center, sitting as a mandated representative of economic development. Adopted at a regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on October 20th, 2021. Madam Commissioner, these are reappointments. If you do have any questions on them, I'm sure that Brenda can answer them.
Does anybody have any questions? Do I have a motion to approve 21-0263?
Motion. Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 21-0268, appointments to the Board of Health.
Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County is hereby make the following appointments to the Lackawanna County Board of Health. Kelly Dickey, 609 East Pine Street, Oliphant, term to begin immediately and expire on January 12, 2026. Commissioner Dominic, 123 Wyoming Avenue, Scranton, term to begin immediately and expire on January 9th, 2023. Adopted at a regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on October 21st, 2021. Commissioners, Ms. Dickey is the Director of Special Education for the NEIU. Therefore, we wanted to appoint the final 2 appointments to this, one being an educational person that would be vested with the school districts of our county. There was no one better fit for this than the Director of Special Education for NEIU.
And this isn't actually it says final appointments, but
No,
we can
appoint whoever you
continue
want
on
That's
as need
that's
be.
the pleasure of the commissioners.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to approve 21-0268?
Motion.
Do I,
Second.
on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opportunity for the public to address the board. You want to stand at the podium, please?
Good morning.
Good morning.
You run an efficient meeting. My name is Rick Williams. I'm a 65-year resident of the Abingtons, especially Clarks Green. Been very active in Clarks Green government, including 5 years on Borough Council and president of Borough Council. Way back, I don't know how many have ever heard of the Abington Council of Governments, but that's what I'm here to talk about very briefly.
It's the Abington Council of Governments?
ACOG, Abington Council of Governments. In 1999, when I first took office, I made the mistake of asking what happened to a previous Council of Governments that had evolved and they weren't active. So our council president offered to send out letters to all the municipalities in the Abingtons, and there are 14 COG eligible communities in Clarks Green, Clarks Summit, Waverly, Dalton, and so on, all the townships and boroughs. With a lot of help from a guy by the name of Lee Jameson in the early days, I think we created a very progressive, very active group of 14 communities that cooperated. Right now, we're in the final year of, after 20 years of negotiating 2 joint contracts for all municipalities with Comcast. We pay 1 lawyer, Dan Cohen, a telecommunications lawyer out of Pittsburgh. With apologies to the lawyers in the room, we don't pay 14 separate lawyers for negotiating. And I wish I could say it's resulted in a lot of better rates for people with cable TV. It has in some ways, especially there's some free services to all the municipal buildings. Plus we're saving by not paying the lawyers. So anyhow, we stopped meeting in March of 2020 because of COVID. We had hoped to start up the last month on September 1st, and there was a resurgence. Now we feel if we don't get back to meetings, the whole thing will fall apart. So I'm inviting Abington resident, Chris, on January 6th, if it fits your schedule. We're going to restart Abington Council of Government meetings. I'd like to add your presence to the agenda to help as a draw, bring people out. I would point out that Herman Johnson, is Herman here? No. Herman Johnson, the mayor was very instrumental. Attorney Shields had just started to serve a term as a representative from Clarks Summit, and Council President Carey has been very supportive, as have many other people. I have tremendous admiration for Factoryville Borough Council. I think extremely well-run community, thanks to my friend Chuck, who is the council president there. So anyhow, just to sum up, we feel there's a tremendous loss by not cooperating in Lackawanna County. There's 41 municipalities. Not only should the Abington councils should be active, we feel there should be a Mid-Valley COG and there should be a Down-Valley COG. And you know the communities. We're all buying the same backhoes, doing the same projects. We could be equipment sharing. We could be sharing a lot of ideas, a lot of personnel. And so that's why I'm here, to try to get the weight of the county commissioners behind our relaunch, but also to encourage you to try to get communities in Lackawanna County to start doing themselves a favor by saving the taxpayer money in services. Be glad to answer any questions, or if if anybody from the COG wants to add anything, they can do that. Thank you.
Tracy, why don't you just note the next meeting for them is January 6, 2021, and then prior to that, we can always, under Commissioners' other business, remind people at the board meetings of your meeting, if that helps.
Did you ever replace the young man that used to come to all the meetings? No, Gerard Hepburn.
Who?
Gerard Hepburn.
No, we didn't.
He did a fantastic job. You know, he not only tortured himself by reporting the county business that you wanted him to report, he sat through the entire meeting with the fights and the boring reports, and he was just marvelous.
He's a great young man, and we did try to recruit him to come back.
Right.
And he's happy. He's working for Neighborhood Works, and he's doing good work there too. But
Well,
he's a loss. But yeah, it's
you know, the Scranton Times no longer has correspondence at all the meetings. The apathy among citizens, you could cut it with a knife. You know that
Yes.
if you're an elected official.
Yes.
You've got to find a way to get more community news for these 40 municipalities out to the voters. Elections are coming up at Clark's Green, and most of the people have no idea what the issues are.
No.
So I'll get off my, I'm a gadfly now, I'm not an elected official anymore.
Well, you'll keep in touch with me on that, you know, whatever you need for the meeting too.
Chris, I'm sorry?
I said, just keep in touch with me and let me know what I can do for the
Yeah, I'll
meeting.
be in
But, you know, consolidating is a big thing with me, so it's a good first step, so.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Hi,
Good morning,
good morning.
Chair Dominic, Commissioners, both Turiani and Shermack. My name is Keith Eckel, a Newton Township farmer, and I'm here today to, number one, tell you how nice it is to come this close from my farm to the meeting. But I think on a much more important issue, and that is the security of our elections. And I'm not talking about reliving 2020. I'm talking about the most recent primary election, not questioning the outcome of that, but indicating that these commissioners have a responsibility as the judge of elections to make certain that the law is followed. And I think this is a bipartisan issue. I'm reminded standing here, yes, I absolutely am an active Republican, but I have voted for a number of Democrats. And actually, two of the three commissioners seated here, I have voted for in the past. It's not a partisan issue. It is an issue of election security. The picture that has surfaced in the Scranton Times with a gentleman carrying 2 bundles of envelopes. I can't tell from that picture if they were ballots or not. But my bet is on the side that they were ballots, but I can't verify that. You would know from what was taken out of the boxes if somebody put their gas or electric bill in there. But it is the law that you must deliver your own ballot. Now, one could argue that perhaps that should be 2, husband and wife. My mom, I took care of, well, she took care of me a lot more years than I took care of her. But in those latter years, if we had this voting procedure, I certainly would see that it would make sense for me to take her ballot. But it's not for me to decide. And we're not talking about 1 or 2, we're talking about bundles. And we are committed to making certain that every person that can vote should have that opportunity. But it is the responsibility, in my opinion, of the judge of elections to make certain that the methodology for voting and the security of that is maintained. It is our most sacred right. It is what makes this nation so different from every other nation in the world. And in this time of division, unfortunate division in my opinion, we should be able to unite in a bipartisan basis and commitment to making certain that our elections are secure. And I'd have to say I was concerned, again, by printed comments by the sheriff, and not being critical of the sheriff, but his indication that they didn't have the resources, as I read it, to make certain of the security of these ballots or to review the films of them. So I urge all three of you working together, and I underline together, to make certain that our elections are properly conducted, properly supervised, and give us the security of knowing that that election is done properly and right. So thank you for your time.
On that note, Keith, I understand that position, and that person was seen carrying more than one ballot, there's no question. I don't think it was bundles, but
More than one piece of,
more than one.
you can't really say if
Right.
it's a ballot.
Right, no. But once you get past that part of it, there are so many safeguards in place to ensure that the election is secure and that it is done properly, that no one can stop anyone. Like the ballot box argument is absolutely ridiculous. You can go to a mailbox and drop off as many as you want and no one would ever know. Okay, this is a matter of trying to make it easier for the people. It's just a simple thing they can go to. They can get absentee ballots. But Donnie Fredrickson is the solicitor for the Election Bureau. Frank Ruggiero is the solicitor for the county, and this is not something that we take lightly at all. And we're not the judges of the elections. We're the election. We're in charge of certifying an election after everything has been reviewed. It is absolutely, and there are people watching from both parties all day long so that there are no irregularities. This is something that we take very seriously, and we have state-of-the-art equipment to pay attention to how this works and how it's counted, and people are there to monitor and watch what goes on. And again, I think Donnie might be able to address it better than I, but this is not something that can, it's actually just another continuation of the same nonsense, in my opinion.
I think what Jerry's trying to get is that it doesn't affect the integrity of the,
Absolutely does not.
and, I mean, I watched the video,
I did not.
I watched, I mean, first of all, I think we probably new cameras in the, in the county, because it's very grainy and difficult to see. There is an exception, it's my understanding, in speaking with the solicitors, that somebody can request assistance. Yes, I'm sorry, I'm not getting it out. Assistance in completing and submitting their ballot. Whether or not that was done. Right, whether or not that was done with regard to that specific gentleman. Unfortunately, it wasn't brought to our attention until 4 months later. But we do understand your concerns. We don't believe that it affects the integrity of the of the process. Beth Hopkins, our Director of Elections, is very efficient and very good at what she does. We did put, when somebody receives a ballot, there are instructions in there about the restrictions of only submitting your own. There's also one posted. Chief Jeffers and I, after the last board meeting, went and had them, sometimes you need something to jump out at you. Rather than have a one-page, like a 8.5 by 11 with black writing, we put a yellow one that just said, you know, basically you can only submit your own, no exceptions. We do have those posted. And we are taking it seriously, so we understand your concerns. And the problem with the sheriffs reviewing all that is that they are stretched very thin. We have them now, or they're going to be covering the magistrate's office, the government center, the courthouse, probation, the prison. Now we have them out there, the central court building. It's part of the reason why we're having a job fair is because we need to recruit more sheriffs and other people in the county. So, but we do. I thank you very much for your comments. I appreciate it.
I think it's important, and Jerry, we don't disagree often, but I don't think this is nonsense.
And again, then,
I think this is serious, and actually, if they were ballots, it violated the first part of the law. It's not acceptable to comply with some of the law. You've got to comply with all of it. And that's all I'm saying. And I do think it is a very legitimate issue.
okay.
And I agree, you know, Keith, you know, I raised the question, and I have no problem with our voter registration office, you know, once they get into their hands, but it does go to the integrity of the vote. Why was someone carrying multiple ballots? Where did these multiple ballots come from? It raises the question. I'm not for the drop boxes. The drop box here is open, available 24 hours a day. The door's never locked. That's not part of the deal that I understood. So unfortunately, that's an issue. But, you know, I'm sure I could get my mother and a group of her women friends, and they'd love to sit and watch video and see what goes on. We could get lots of volunteers to watch video. So it just comes down to beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
I can't say why, what. I don't think we had too many gas bills or electric bills or cable bills thrown in our drop box. It just gives them one more opportunity to do something that's not legal. And if
Again,
they
though,
did that
if-
in the post office, then you have that becomes a federal offense then, mail fraud. So
This issue was raised in October, or maybe was it? Yeah, and it happened in May. It should have been raised sooner. I don't know how anyone could investigate something that happened 4 months ago. But Jerry, you wanted to say?
You know, again, I'll defer to the attorneys, but when this was first brought up, when Pennsylvania decided that they would allow, and it is legal, to have drop boxes.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's legal,
Yes.
and they can do that. Okay? At first, Commissioner Shermack thought it was a great idea. I had mentioned to him that that's not what your base wants. They're trying to suppress the vote. All right?
I'm encouraging more to vote.
Well, and I am too. And it makes it easier for people.
Absolutely.
The point is, it's disingenuous to say that it's a great idea and then criticize it later because your political
But-
party's pressuring you.
No, because, I don't know.
Not you.
Chris, I made the point when I first started, this needs to be the three of you
And
together.
again, we're glad to do it.
And the drop box is a good idea, but it absolutely needs to be monitored as laid out by the state law. That's where the catch is.
And I think that's where we can get into the solicitors can comment on how that system actually works. And it works very well. and we've had no issues at all in Lackawanna County. I can't speak for the rest of the country,
No, I understand.
but in Lackawanna County, how does it work?
Sure. So with regards to our drop boxes, Mr. Eckel, each of our drop boxes is monitored by a camera or a video component in each of the specific municipalities. And that is in accordance with state law. In a perfect world, I don't know that anyone disagrees here that if we could physically have someone there, that is not necessarily a bad idea, but is it practical? Not necessarily, and not fiscally, at least right now. Is it in compliance with state law? It is. So in that regard, all we can do is comply with the law. I'm not discounting anyone's arguments, and to your point, I don't know that anyone would disagree with that. The integrity of our election system is critical, and I think we all do the best job we can in compliance with the law to ensure that occurs. One point I just want to raise as an attorney, and I know no one's accusatory here, and I've had this discussion with Commissioner Shermack. The video is the video is the video. That speaks for itself. But I don't want anyone to rush to a conclusion here that this gentleman did anything wrong, because we don't know, one, what was put in. I think we can presume it was more than one ballot. I don't know if it was 2, I don't know if it was 3. I didn't study it per se, but there are exceptions under the election code which do allow an individual, if properly requested, to assist an individual, i.e. bring someone's ballot to a ballot box if they physically cannot do it. But
Frank, I would agree that's written.
There are
And I
criteria.
didn't know this until I read the article in the paper.
Of course.
And then I researched the law.
Of course. I just want to make sure, and I know none of us are, but it's important that we state this, because I don't want the narrative to be, before an investigation even begins, as one is commenced, as indicated by the DA's office, that there's been something wrong or there's a rush to judgment. I mean, the investigation will ferret out what it ferrets out, but you know, your points are well taken, but as far as Lackawanna County is concerned, we really do try to follow the law. We do follow the law. And in this case, in which an issue was raised, because we had the video cameras in place in accordance with the law, we were able to see and at least capture that video and have it looked at as it should be. So I hope that helps address some of your points
And
today.
I appreciate
Sure.
that you're taking it seriously. I think that's important. because
Sure, of course.
It's important to every citizen in the county. And I'm not looking at the country, I'm looking at Lackawanna.
Sure.
Oh, what are we looking at?
That's what I'm looking at. And this is the primary, and yes, it's 4 months behind. The purpose of me being here today is we have an election coming up. And I hope that the three of you serving as the election board will do everything in your power to make sure it's secure. That's all. And I apologize for taking this much time.
That's okay.
Frank,
Mr.
Frank, if I may just respond.
Sure.
I agree with everything that you said, but I think we need to add the fact that the law also says that if someone returns multiple ballots without written authorization to do so, those ballots are to be set aside. In this case, I'm not aware of any ballots being set aside. Now, you know, Attorney Frederickson or Frank, you can tell me differently, but that in itself affects the integrity of the election. If this gentleman put 3 ballots in, or 4 ballots, or even 2 ballots, everything over 1 should have been set aside. And if we did not have these drop boxes, that gentleman would have either had to put them in the U.S. Postal Service mailbox, which would have been mail fraud, as Commissioner Chermak said, or he would have had to go to voter registration, he would have had to attempt to hand those ballots in, and he would have been told, you're only allowed to put 1 in unless you have written authorization and can produce that. By using the drop boxes, there's no way to check whether someone has written authorization to put multiple ballots in, and there's no way to set aside ballots that are put in, additional ballots that are put in without written authorization. So the law is more than just what was stated. It also includes setting aside of ballots that are dropped off without written authorization to do so by the voter.
I don't disagree with that statement or that interpretation per se of the law, but the presumption there is that the gentleman placed inappropriate ballots or invalid ballots into the ballot box. And that's my point.
You're absolutely correct.
Right, so let me just finish though, and
Sorry.
respond, sure. So, in responding though, to set aside a ballot, you'd have to first deem the ballot to be invalid to set it aside. And so, that's what this process is about. That's the issue Commissioner Shermack raised. So if the investigation determines that this gentleman did something that he shouldn't have done, then that's perhaps a discussion we have at that time. But you can't invalidate ballots before they're deemed to be invalid or inappropriate or illegal.
I agree exactly with exactly what you're saying.
And I understand what you're saying.
No,
You're
let me finish
suggesting
now.
from the front end that there be some additional safeguard,
What I'm saying is,
i.e. not have ballot boxes.
what I'm saying is that we have to make an assumption that those are ballots because somebody's putting something in a drop box. There's no way to conclusively determine, other than the fact that part of this drop box process requires a reporting inventory of each box be made on a daily basis when those boxes are empty. That's my understanding of the law, and there's a form that should be filled out. And if we need to do a right to request, a right to know request to obtain those forms, then I think that's incumbent upon Commissioner Shermack to determine whether he wants to do that. So you're right, we're making an assumption that those are ballots. But if we didn't have drop boxes, we wouldn't be making assumptions. We would know because they would be hand-delivered to the voter registration office. And that's where the system breaks down. There's nobody to watch the videos. So what's the point in having video surveillance if nobody's ever going to watch the videos? Commissioner Shermack never would have known about this gentleman had he not been given an anonymous tip that proved fruitful. So to say that it doesn't affect the integrity of the election, I think is disingenuous, because if they were ballots and if there was no authorization, they should have been set aside. One can say that they don't affect the outcome of the election, and I would have no reason to argue that. Because certainly, I don't think the gentleman could hold enough ballots in his hand to affect the outcome of the election. But to say that it doesn't affect the integrity, I would humbly say that it's disingenuous as long as ballots are supposed to be set aside, which is what the law says.
And look, I guess we'll have to agree to disagree. At the end of the day, it is not inappropriate to submit a ballot if it's an appropriate ballot to submit, meaning if an individual properly requested assistance and that ballot was put into the ballot box, then we're talking about nothing. And all I'm saying is we're jumping, and you're jumping, I think, to a conclusion. Not that we'll have to assume they're ballots that are placed in the ballot box, but the assumption that those ballots are somehow invalid because he put more than one ballot box or one ballot in. And that's the concern that I have, that we're creating a narrative that the ballot boxes, we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater before there's even been an investigation. You've requested an investigation. My understanding is that the district attorney's office is undertaking that investigation, and that'll be what it's going to be. And then depending on however many ballots there are, presuming there's some finding that those ballots were inappropriate or invalid, then yes, we'll have to have a discussion with them. I think to your point, and look, I'm not going to speak for Commissioner Notoriani, but the issue at the end of the day that I think you've just raised as well is that were there enough ballots in his hand to affect the ballot, presuming those ballots were invalid? I don't think so, but that doesn't negate the discussion that's required. I think it's equally disingenuous to suggest that the ballot boxes are wrong or inappropriate, or that the integrity of the election was somehow compromised before an investigation has even determined that anything was wrong.
Frank, with all due respect, and I know
So let's agree to disagree, or we can go back and forth
let's
for the
move
next
on.
hour.
we can agree to disagree, I understand that, but it's impossible with the current system and the security in place to prove that multiple ballots being put in were being put in with authorization. I would suggest that at the least we do is say, if you intend to put multiple ballots in, that you do so at voter registration, where the authorization can be checked, and that people only use the drop boxes for their own ballots until we come up with a better way to monitor the security of these drop boxes.
And I think that there is a sign that says they can only do that, and we can't control that. And you keep bringing up it's mail fraud if they put more than one in a mailbox. Do you really believe that anyone is going to pay any attention to every mailbox in Lackawanna County if someone goes there with 10 times that amount, and how they would ever come to that conclusion? They get a ballot from voter registration. They can't just go print a ballot. And it's more of the political nonsense, in my opinion.
Here's what I think. I think we should all talk about it. I think we should lay it to rest right now. I think we should talk about it, see if there's any measures that we can take to, we did something, it was something by putting that neon sign. But maybe we could talk about further measures, but your concerns are very valid and noted.
Thank you.
Can I give this to you? I actually tried to reach out to you regarding the agricultural board, because you are a farmer, and I was unable to reach you, so here's my contact information, and if you're interested, can you call me?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Keith.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Hi, Jerry.
I thank you for your comments on this, Keith. We're really on top of it here in Clarkson.
Thank
I
you.
want to welcome all our commissioners and the entire staff here to our
Thank you.
council. And we want to thank the county for our new council chambers, which we received a grant, so thank you again for that. But I just want to speak on our box that yesterday I was here when the sheriff's office was here. They were emptying the box, and the question was, can you put more than one in? There's a sign on the box. Our camera is on the box. It's monitored 24/7 by our police department downstairs. Any questions, they can pull the camera up and bring up any issues. It can only be one at a time. There's a lot of them that put them in the box with the stamp on them even. And the same thing is Commissioner Terriani said, the sheriff's office said, you can go to a mailbox and put as many in as you want. But this is the regulation of our deposit box. We've been very successful with it. We get calls to the borough all the time thanking us for having the box available, and we have had no issues whatsoever. So I just want everybody to feel comfortable that these deposit boxes are very secure, they're very safe, and they're monitored by our police. So with that,
Thank
we
you.
just hope it can continue, because there's a lot of elderly residents here in the Abingtons, and this has been a real gift for them, so they appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Commissioners.
Okay, Commissioners, other business. I would just like to say for Commissioners, other business, so I want to stress the importance of getting vaccinated. I know somebody currently who just turned 47 years old, and he spent his 47th birthday on a ventilator. He was not vaccinated. He's very important to me, and he is actually being trached today because he's been on the ventilator you're only allowed for 14 days. He's a fighter, and I'm going to remain positive, and and say that he's going to pull through this, but he's 47 and he was in good shape. He ate well, he exercised, and he had no pre-existing respiratory issues, and he is really struggling. So I just, number one, everyone please just think of him and say a prayer to whoever you pray to for him, for me. And just, you gotta get vaccinated. Like I said before, I'm always in the 2% when I take a medication. If there's like 2% of people will get all these terrible side effects, I'm usually in that 2%. And Jerry and I, and you know it's true, and Jerry and I went and got the Pfizer vaccine, and we had no issues. I intend to get the booster, which I believe we're going to have booster clinics in November, which we'll talk about at some point or whenever. But like I said, if it could take somebody out who's this person is also a firefighter. He is strong and young, and he is fighting for his life. And it's a very, seeing him like that really put things into perspective for me. Get the shot, get vaccinated. If not for yourself, for your children and for your family and for your loved ones, because watching somebody go through that, it's heart-wrenching. So please just get vaccinated. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
and I hope your friend
Thank
comes
you.
through this very soon.
Thank you.
And I'm not an expert on vaccines. I have mine, obviously. My family has theirs. I hope that is the thing that saves everyone. So I do encourage people to get their vaccines. It's just an unfortunate and a very dangerous disease. But on a good note, it's good to be back in this building. My father was a longtime council member here in Clark Summit. I was on the Planning Commission years ago. I grew up downstairs in this as a junior fireman and learned how to become a first responder years and many more years than I want to even think about. But it's nice to see the new room and good to be home. So thank you.
Anything else? I'll take a motion for adjournment.
Motion. Second.
On the question. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.